growing in a way that was quietly, literally breaking me. So I made a decision. I stopped trying to hire my way out of the problem and started building my way out of it. What I built and what I'm sharing with you today is an automation stack that effectively replaced 3 roles in my business. Is this a people problem or a systems problem? Because if it's a systems problem, a new hire just inherits a broken system. You're not solving anything. You're just giving the chaos a name. They stopped trading time for dollars and started building systems that generate results, whether they're working or not. Hello, I want to tell you about a season in my business that I don't talk about enough. All right. So there was a point where I was doing everything and everything. I'm sure you have been there or are there, right? Following up with the leads, onboarding the new clients, sending the check-in messages, scheduling all the calls, answering the same questions over and over and over again, managing the back end of the business that was growing like crazy, but growing in a way that was quietly, literally breaking me, right? I had a team, but I was still the bottleneck because the systems weren't there. The automation wasn't there fully. And every time I tried to take a step back, something fell through the cracks, right? So I made a decision. I stopped trying to hire my way out of the problem and started building my way out of it. All right. What I built and what I'm sharing with you today is an automation stack that effectively replaced 3 roles in my business. Not because I wanted to cut people, no, but because I realized that the most valuable thing any human on my team could do was the work that actually required a human. Everything else, the system handles it. And so I want to help you build that. All right. We're going to talk about that. So before I get into the stack, I need to address something that I see constantly with female business owners, especially. And I say especially because I lived it myself. All right. When something in the business isn't getting done, when leads aren't being followed up with, when the clients aren't being properly onboarded, when the admin stuff is piling up, our first instinct is to hire somebody, get a VA, bring on an OBM, add a team member. And sometimes that's the right call. Absolutely. But a lot of the time we're hiring people to do jobs that a well-built system could do even better, even faster, and for the fraction of the cost. So here's the question I now ask before any hire or transition, or I'll just do it myself, right? Is this a people problem or a systems problem? Because if it's a systems problem, a new hire just inherits a broken system. You're not solving anything. You're just giving the chaos a name, really. So the 3 roles I'm talking about today are not glamorous.
Hey, quick pause before we continue, because if you're listening to this podcast and thinking, I love the strategy, but the tech still feels overwhelming, you're not alone. That's why Tech Savvy School exists. Tech Savvy School is where entrepreneurs learn how to actually build the systems behind a scalable business. Funnels, automations, workflows, and tools explained in plain language, step by step. No guessing, no duct taping platforms together anymore, just clarity and confidence with the tech that supports your growth. This podcast helps you think differently about your business. Tech Savvy School helps you implement what you're learning. If you're ready to stop feeling stuck on the tech side of things in your business, visit techsavvyschool.com and explore the trainings. All right, let's get back to the episode.
They're not the roles you dream about when you think about building a team, but they are the roles that when they're missing or doing their job poorly, it slows everything down and drains your energy. So my name is Natasha Roberson. I am the CXSO Customer Experience Strategy Officer here at Selfmade, and I am your host today for the Digital Shift podcast. I am excited. This is where I live. How can we take something that manually is being done by humans and it's It doesn't need a human to do it. And how do we build a system? How do we build a system that does it automatically, right? So the role number one that I want to talk about today is the follow-up person. The role two that I want to talk about today is the onboarding coordinator. And the role three I want to talk about is the client success manager. Let me show you what I built in GHL and with the help of AI to cover all three of these. All right, so role number one, the follow-up person. All right, so let's talk about this because this is the role that most businesses either can't afford to hire or hire for and still do it poorly. It happens every single time we do a consult. The follow-up person's job is simply, in theory, make sure no leads fall through the cracks, reach out to everybody, check in with everybody, nurture everybody, re-engage everybody, keep the pipeline warm. In practice, it's a full-time plus job, right? Especially when you're running ads, generating leads at high volumes, or managing a database that has hundreds or thousands of contacts already. So here's what I built inside GHL to replace that role entirely. First, it's an AI-powered speed to lead, okay? The second a new lead comes in, GHL fires an intelligent, personalized outreach message, right? Not a generic one. Thanks for signing up email. We don't send that's not it. An actual conversation starter. So AI generates it based on what the lead opted in for, what page they came in from, and what they're most likely struggling with. It goes out in seconds every single time without anyone touching it, automated, right? Secondly, behavior triggered nurture. So inside GHL, every action a lead takes in a data point, right? They open an email, they click here, this page is visited, this form is filled out, all feeds the system. When a lead shows high interest behavior, they're clicking around, they're in there, the follow-up intensifies automatically. When they go cold, a re-engagement sequence fires, right? The system is constantly reading and responding. No human could do this at any level of consistency. There's just no way. Third, the AI conversational layer for leads who respond, who text back or reply to emails, they engage in a chat. We have an AI layer inside of GHL that can hold an initial qualifying conversation. It answers questions, it asks questions like FAQs, it asks them the right questions based on what they're saying, it gathers information for us, and when the conversation reaches a point where a human needs to step in, it flags it, tags the contact, and routes them to the team. What this means practically is that my team is only having conversations that matter. They're not chasing cold leads. They're not answering the same question for the 100th time today. They're showing up in the conversations that are warm, qualified, and ready to move forward. So that is the follow-up. That is what the follow-up role looks like when it's built into a system. It runs 24/7 and it never has a bad day. It's like a dream come true, right? The second role is the onboarding coordinator. This is where you want to make every new client, every new student feel like a VIP. Okay? And this is the role that when it's missing, when it's absolutely missing or inconsistent, it costs you clients that you never realized you were losing, right? We talked about this in a previous episode I did. The post-sale experience is the most neglected part of most businesses. The onboarding coordinator is the person responsible for making every new client have a smooth, warm, structured entry into your world. They send the welcome, they collect the information, they set expectations, they deliver the first win, they make sure the client feels seen, right? So when there's no system for this, it either falls on you, which means you're doing it inconsistently and drains your time, or it's going to fall on a team member who's also doing 5 other things or 10 and can't give it the attention it deserves. So here's the onboarding stack that I built in GHL. The moment a payment clears, a GHL workflow is going to trigger an automation. Immediately, The client gets a warm, welcome, personalized email that sounds like it came directly from me because I recorded it. I wrote it, right? I put the energy into it. And then the system delivers it every single time to every single new client without me lifting a finger. Beautiful, right? And so within the first 24 hours, they're going to receive a quick win. We're going to stay in communication, right? A resource, a framework, a short training, something that gives them immediate value and immediate confidence that they made the right decision. This is not optional. This is the foundation of client retention. So over the next week that they're brand new, over the next week, GHL walks them through a structured onboarding sequence. It collects the information I need through smart forms. It answers their most common early questions through AI-powered responses. It gets them set up, oriented, and moving without having to wait on a human to respond. And here's what makes this client feel like a VIP and that they're in a VIP experience rather than an automated sequence. It's the personalization, right? So based on how they entered, the questions we ask, the things AI collects, GHL is able to tag every client based on their business type, their goals, and what they told us during the sales process. So the onboarding content adapts to that. A woman running a brick and mortar boutique gets a different experience than a woman running an online coaching program. The system knows the difference because we're thinking forward, asking the right questions so we can have it all personalized and customized to them. The messaging always is going to reflect that. So what used to require a dedicated person working full plus time with a checklist and a prayer now runs on autopilot consistently, beautifully every single time. So let's talk about role number 3. This is the client success manager. All right. So this is the most sophisticated piece of the stack, to be totally honest. But it also is the one that has the highest return on interest. All right. So the client success manager's job is to make sure that clients are getting results, staying engaged in the coursework or whatever it is, your product or service, and progressing towards their goals. They watch for warning signs, they celebrate the wins, they identify upgrade opportunities, they ask for the referrals at the right moment. They are the person responsible for long-term health of every client relationship. This is a full-time role at most companies. And a lot of times your company needs it and you just don't have the bandwidth of income revenue coming in to pay for this person. So you don't even have it, right? Senior companies pay 6 figures for a great customer service manager. And most small businesses typically, they just can't afford one. But here's what GHL and AI can do, okay? GHL is gonna track every client's behavior continuously, login frequency to their coursework, content engagement, process through the program service, response rate, all of this data, and that data feeds into a pipeline that I built specifically to monitor, client health, okay? So when a client hits a milestone, completes a module, achieves a result, reaches a goal that they told us during onboarding, the system fires a celebration message, personal, specific, in my voice or somebody on the team's voice. The client feels seen, they feel supported, they feel like someone's paying attention. And when the client goes quiet, when their engagement drops below a certain threshold, the system fires a re-engagement sequence, not a generic check-in, a targeted value-driven touch point that meets them where they're at and gives them a reason to come back and engage. When a client's behavior signals that they're ready for the next level, they're highly engaged, they're asking advanced questions, they're consuming everything, the system flags them for an ascension conversion, okay? And my team gets notified. The timing is perfect because the data told us it was. And when a client is at peak satisfaction, when they've just shared a win, when they're most excited about their results, the system asks for a review and a referral automatically, warmly, specifically. And when someone says yes, GHL manages the entire review and referral process from there. okay? Because it's built, right? So this is what client success manager does. Mine just happens to live inside GHL and runs every minute of every day. So we have that on the back end running, and we have a human. So if you're in any of our programs, you not only have the back end AI and GHL built system, but we have a human that also is layering on even more VIP experience. So now we're not just using a system, we're using a system plus a human to make it even better. Okay. So what this all actually means for your business is I want to be really, really, really clear about something before we close. Okay. This is not about replacing people. My team is still here. We're still hiring new humans. They are still essential, but what they're doing has fundamentally changed. They're not doing the repetitive, time-consuming tasks that a system can actually handle. They're doing the high touch, the high value, the deep human work that actually moves the needle forward. And they're having the real conversations, being in real relationships with our clients and students, creating the real breakthroughs because the system took care of everything else on their plate, right? And for you, if you're a woman running a business on your own or with a small team, or trying to scale without burning out, this is the path. This is it. Not hiring 3 people you can't afford right now, but building 3 systems that cost a fraction and work around the clock. This automation stack isn't the future of business. It's the present, okay? The women who are winning in 2026 and beyond are the ones who figured this out. They stopped trading time for dollars and started building systems that generate results, whether they're working or not. And that is what Self-Made is built to help you do. So let me bring this home. We got 3 roles, 3 automation stacks that we talked about. The follow-up person, that's replaced by AI-powered speed to lead, behavior triggered, nurturing, and an intelligent conversation layer that qualifies while you're at a baseball game, sleeping, on vacation, right? The onboarding coordinator was replaced by GHL workflow that delivers a VIP experience to every new client and student every time automatically. Then you got the client success manager is replaced by behavior monitoring pipeline that celebrates the wins, catches the drifters, identifies the ascension, and asks for reviews and referrals at exactly the right time. So now, if you're thinking here and you're like sitting here and you're thinking, this sounds incredible, but I have no idea what my stack should look like right now or where to even begin building, I want you to take our free GHL business audit, all right? And in the business audit, it's free, it's fast, and it's specifically designed to show you where the gaps are in your current systems. And it's going to give you a simple, clear path for what to build first, what to start with, to scale, and without having more on your plate. Okay. And here's the thing. You don't have to figure this out alone. That's exactly what we're here for. So all you got to do is go to self-made.biz/GHL-audit. Link's going to be below in the show notes, and go grab your free audit. Share this episode with another businesswoman that you are friends with who is doing way too much manually right now. She needs to hear this too. So with that, I can't wait to see your audit, and I'll see you on the next episode.
If you're getting value from these conversations, don't let this be the only episode that you listen to. Every episode of this podcast is designed to help you build a smarter business, one with real systems behind the scenes, not just ideas, motivation, or hustle. We break down what's actually working right now when it comes to automation, content, follow-up, and scaling without the burnout. If you want to see how all of this comes together in real life, I highly recommend watching the Self-Made Hub demo. Inside the Self-Made Hub, you'll see how entrepreneurs turn content into leads and leads into conversations and conversations into consistent sales using simple automated systems that don't feel overwhelming or cold. You can watch the demo anytime at self-made.biz/demo. Then queue up another episode, because the shift doesn't happen from one conversation. It happens when you start connecting all the dots.
And I'll see you in the next episode.